Welcome to Bledsoe Said So, everybody. Tonight we are joined by my brother, Chris Bledsoe Jr. It's been a while. It's been about a year.
Yeah.
Before we get into that,
wow.
There's three things that right off the bat I wanted to talk about. So first and foremost, we do have our Instagram if you want to stay up to date on what's going on with us currently. You know, we post clips of the show every week, but most importantly, we tend to announce our schedule with public events and just anything that we've got going on in our corner. Secondly, we do have our website, bledsoesaidso.com. Check us out on there. It has like all of our links for our YouTube, for our show, for our shop, for all of these things that, you know, are relevant to our Bledsoe Said So sphere. And then lastly, if you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon that has 2 tiers with a variety of benefits, like our wonderful Discord community in the $5 tier. And on the $10 tier, you get your name in the show credits, in addition to discounts on merchandise and all of the previous tiers. So anyway, without further ado, how you feeling, Junior?
Terrific.
Nice.
I'm feeling terrific.
I would have been
a long day.
Confused if it was any different.
Yeah. I'm usually pretty happy-go-lucky, but for all the people listening, I've been remodeling Ryan's house again.
Yeah.
Doing some stuff and preparations, and it's been a long day.
Yeah. It's been a long
I'm tired, but
week.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm hyped.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
You guys been
excited
working hard?
to show off all my toys.
Yeah, we do have some toys.
Yep. I brought my beauty.
Yeah, what's her name?
Oh, I haven't gotten that far yet. I haven't even thought to name her. Why don't we ask the people who watch the show what to name her?
Okay, that's a
great
good
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Regulus.
is. Well, yeah, that's a strong contender. I see the name Virtue on the hopper there. That's pretty cool.
Yep, that's a Virtue Spire loader.
Yeah.
The Virtue Spire 5. It's like the newest gen loader, but it's actually really cool. It's all electric. You have a little button there to turn it on, and it hears the vibrations. From what I understand, when the gun shoots, it hears it, it feels it, and it sees it, and it knows how fast to spin to feed the ball 10.5 balls per second.
Wow.
That's what it's
pretty cool.
set
So you've
at.
been really into paintball lately.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I kind of do that with hobbies. I'm constantly back and forth between several different hobbies that I like to do. Paintball, Magic the Gathering, flying model airplanes, fishing. I just kind of bounce back and forth to them constantly.
Yeah.
You know, this year I'm doing paintball. Who knows? Next year I might be flying freaking kites. I don't know.
Yeah. Awesome.
Kind of how I'll do it.
I haven't played paintball in a minute. I'm not gonna lie.
It's a lot of fun, man. That's how I get closer to God.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, this is my happy place. It's where I meditate. It's where I forget about the rest of the world and all of my issues that I have. I can just, you know, focus on what I love and be happy and, you know, connect with other people, my friends.
Yeah.
I have events where I will get, you know, friends out once a month. We do the last Sunday of every month. Me and several of my friends started it, and now there's like a whole bunch of them that, you know, they don't all come at the same times. It might be 5 this week or this month and, you know, 20 the next. You just never know who's going to show up, but we have some pretty cool days at the field.
That's awesome, dude. I've been watching your videos. It looks really fun.
It is, man. It really is. It's what makes me happy.
That's awesome, man. I have a lot of respect for that. I can't remember the last time I played paintball. I think it was probably like 15 years ago. So
yeah,
I'm not really much into, you know, super physical hobbies.
You got to
anymore.
have something to keep your mind busy, you know, and your hands occupied. If you don't have something you enjoy doing outside of work and family and all that, if you don't have something you enjoy, what's the purpose?
Yeah.
You know, it's not worth it working all the time and just doing everything you're expected to do all the time without some fun. You got to enjoy your life. You got one. But, you know, if you do things that you enjoy, like paintball and and you really truly enjoy it, you'll be a happier person in the end. If you live upset and always negative and griping at people, and you don't do anything you love, you just work all the time, that's no way to live. Right?
Burnout.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people live like that, and it's sad. It's sad to see it. People stay stuck on their phones and stuff, and they don't really get out and do stuff the way they used to. And we got to get back to that.
Right.
Yeah.
I wish, man. I wish. I have hope for some sort of future where we can do a lot more play and a lot less work, but who knows? But in other news, you've been to a lot of conferences this year, huh?
Yep.
Tell me about it.
I've been to something like 5 of them.
Yeah.
Or so. I don't know. Is that accurate? 4 or 5 in the last since May.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
I think 4.
Done a lot.
Yeah. What was that like?
Done a lot. It was great. It was pretty cool. I'm still trying to get used to talking to people in the public and getting on stage. I did that at Contact in the Desert. It was mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I
That was
can get
wild.
out. I can get on the paintball field and be shot at, and I'm scared to death to stand on a stage and talk in front of a couple people. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think you handled it really well, man. And I really wanted to kind of talk about that, and especially in the last year, there's been a lot of growth happening where you go from not really wanting to talk about any of this kind of stuff at all around anybody to sometimes sort of finding yourself on stage in front of a few hundred people and you had no clue you were even going to be there. I'm just curious, like, what's,
Dude, my younger self wouldn't believe it.
Yeah.
If I had, told my younger self that I'd be on a stage talking about UFOs, that I would have thought that I was crazy.
Right.
No freaking way that's my future. Took me a long time to even accept it, to be okay with it, that this is who I am. This is who I'm supposed to be. I ran from it. I hid for, 16 years, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like
for
that.
a long time. Didn't want anything to do with it. I hated it. Literally. I hated UFOs or aliens or angels, any of it. The topic, period. Hated it. Because I would get anxiety that probably stemmed from the abuse that I got from family.
Yeah.
And it is kind of like a form of abuse. If I'm probably wrong, and I'm sure people wouldn't see it that way, but it's a religious abuse almost.
It is.
Because of something I saw, I was this evil, horrible human being. For coming back from the river, I went fishing, and I saw something. I came home from fishing and spoke about what I saw, and now I'm this horrible, evil person that's been outcasted from the family that I looked up to. I loved all of them. My grandmas, both of them. My grandpa, God rest his soul.
Everybody.
My mother, my aunts, my uncles, my favorite ones. Almost all of them told me that I was a liar, that I was on drugs, or that I was wrong or evil or messing with Satan or demons. And in my mind, I just knew the whole time that they were wrong. I knew what I saw. I know that I'm not crazy. And really the way that I felt as a 17-year-old boy, I felt like the preacher knew everything. I felt like I could trust him. I went to his Sunday preachings every year of my life for all of my until I was 17 or 18. Every single Sunday I went and I looked up to the man. I was a little baby thinking he knew it all. He had all the answers. And I realized when I saw something that he told me was demonic, and I knew in my heart that I wasn't worshiping demons or doing witchcraft or whatever, I knew that man may not actually know all of what I thought he did. He wasn't the person I thought he was, and that hurt, and my family, the ones that I looked up to and loved. I realized that they weren't what I thought. They weren't this loving, kind family that I expected, that I grew up thinking they were. They were hateful and judgmental, and still to this day tell me, and my dad especially, I feel so sorry for him. People don't see it, but he's badgered to death by our family still to this day. And it's sad, dude. But I hated the topic UFOs because of all that.
Yeah. The trauma.
Well, and besides all that, it was traumatizing seeing it. Seeing it was scary. It fucks your whole world up. Excuse my language. A little boy or a child, anybody that doesn't know anything about this stuff, they've lived their happy-go-lucky life, doing what they do Monday through fucking Sunday. They do their normal little routine, and then all of a sudden, bam, they're shocked with this revelation, or this new knowledge that they didn't expect to have that contradicts their whole way of living, right? Because it kind of does.
It's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and it shocks you internally. It changes your soul. I would go so far as to say that. And because it did for me. It changed my entire outlook on everything, especially my family and especially the church. I hate to say that because I'm a Christian. I just got baptized again on last Sunday. I love the church, but I'm conflicted by it.
Yeah, I understand that completely.
I understand the church has great teachings. Jesus was a real man. God existed. God exists, right? We know that. But I don't think that they have it all figured out the way they think. Because I am not an evil person. I have a good heart. I take care of my family, and I know that. I don't do witchcraft. I don't do evil stuff. I'm not an evil person. I play paintball. Does that make me evil?
Yeah. No. I'm
seeing these freaking aliens.
I'm not saying yes
angels.
I'm just automatically
Does that
saying
make me an evil person? Does it mean that how did I summon these demons? These are questions I ask myself. If the church is telling me they're demons, then I had to have summoned them. Why are they here?
Right.
So where's my answer? I need an answer. The church can't provide it, so should I believe them? Should I go every Sunday and dedicate that hour of my life every Sunday to a man who's calling me evil and has no idea what I'm talking about? He doesn't know. It exists. I saw it. It's real. But he doesn't know anything about it. And what he's telling me, it doesn't seem right. So I've been conflicted with that my whole freaking life. And when I was younger, it bothered me bad. It bothers you when you're a devout Christian. It just turned my whole world upside down. I don't know what to believe. I'm not the smartest person on the planet. I'm not a scholar. I don't know enough about the Bible. I was very conflicted. I didn't know which way to go. Should I believe in it? Should I not?
So let me ask you this then, because I think that's great.
I do believe in it, though. I want to set that straight. Right. I do believe in the Bible. All right? You don't have to. The viewer doesn't have to. I believe in the teachings I was taught, but to a degree.
Yeah, but there's
a degree.
There's nothing wrong with what you're saying. All you're saying is the community that you were around in your youth, you began to question things.
Yeah, I don't know how to word the way that I see things, so I probably sound like a bumbling idiot here on the microphone. No. But I have this feeling, and I'm trying to express it to all these people that I don't know and have probably never spoken to. I don't know how they see things. I don't know how to word the way that I feel it,
Yeah. No, you don't sound like
a dumbass. But
not at all. Not at all. That's why it's great. It's absolutely great.
The religious thing plagued me for a long time. I saw demons. I'm a demon worshiper. It's evil. I don't think I'm evil.
Well, let's make that clear. You didn't see demons.
No, of course I didn't.
It's what they were telling you.
That's what they told me.
Yes,
and
I just wanted to make that clear. Yeah.
But
and they still tell. Yeah, and they still say that.
And because of that, That's what messed me up.
Right.
And they'll never see it that way. It's only, white and black for them. Oh, it's evil. You're being deceived. I don't think it's that simple. How come when I pray to Jesus, an orb of light appears? Should I just stop praying?
Right.
Because that's what the church is telling me. I can walk out in the backyard and just pray or ask, and it appears, an orb. And I was stuttering because I didn't know if I wanted to say this or not, but I have a buddy who was just in Arizona. I have the text I can show you. Him and some friends were in Sedona, Arizona, sky watching. The guy works for PlayStation. He's a friend of mine. He lives in the United Kingdom.
That's cool.
Shout out to Mark.
Yes. And PlayStation.
And PlayStation.
I love mine.
Yeah, I love PlayStation. It's amazing. One of the best inventions of all time, actually. But anyway, yeah, Mark and some friends were sky watching in Sedona, Arizona, and he texted me. It was like 12:30, and he was like, "Yeah, we're out here sky watching. We haven't seen anything." And I said, "I'll put some energy out there," or something like that. And then I thought about it, and I realized, Dad, I've seen Dad do it before. Like the History Channel, they did this whole, what did they call it? The quantum entanglement thing. It was
right.
like a scientific experiment that they were working on, where Dad would say a prayer, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm
That's
probably
correct.
getting some parts
that's
wrong,
correct.
but he would say a prayer. Hey, please show up, come and see us, whatever he does. And somebody was in Charlotte, right?
Yes.
While we were in Fayetteville, and at the precise moment when Dad would say it, an orb would appear in front of us there in Fayetteville, and at the same time, in the same position, and blah, 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 also would happen in Charlotte. So I thought, what if I could do this with Mark in Sedona? Dad does it. I should be able to do it too. So I tried it, and I sent it to him in text. I am going to say a prayer for you. I did it. At 12:36, he said, "They're here." And he sent me videos and all. So him and a whole group of people, I guess they were all saying a prayer too, because I texted him, "I'm going to say a prayer." So and I kind of figured that if I said that he might also say one. I hope I'm not saying too much here on this microphone. But,
no, not at all.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. Well, anyway, we both ended up saying the prayer, and I thought that, where there's many, we will, where many are gathered or whatnot, they will appear.
Yeah, Dad is always telling us that.
That's what he tells us.
He's telling us that's what it means. Two or more are gathered in my name, there I will be among them. He's always saying, the more of us around trying to see orbs and everything, that's why the mass sky watchers are always successful.
I said a prayer, and they appeared for him in Sedona, Arizona. And I can show you. I'll show you the videos and the text and all. I mean, whether it actually happened because of the prayer I said or the prayer he said or was it just pure, I don't know, but it happened.
Right.
And saying a freaking prayer brought it. It wasn't a demon. It was a light, a ball of light. Demons shouldn't be appearing as a ball of light.
Right. When you're praying to God.
Yeah, when
Jesus.
you pray to God. Yeah. People would say that Satan is, light or whatever, but
yeah, well, that's misconstrued. It also says, and again, I'm not necessarily a fundamental Christian, but I grew up reading the same book, so I know a few passages from it. Yeah. And again, there is a lot of truth in I'm not saying the Bible is wrong. I'm just saying there's more to it. I personally would say I'm a Gnostic Christian.
There you go.
There's more to it. But there is like one little passage in there. No, but there's one little passage in there that says something like Satan can appear as a deceiving angel of light. And people are so fooled because then, okay, well, if you believe the whole Bible is literally true, there's another passage that says, test spirits in the name of Jesus. So you're using that argument, but you're not even... so according to your belief, talking about the person that says that, right? According to your belief, it says in the Bible that there's this magical little phrase that you can say to any spirit that appears, and it's basically you say the name Jesus, and if it's evil, it'll go away, right? Well, why is it that when you say the name Jesus or you say the name God, these orbs are just appearing?
Weird.
You're saying I'm the dark one?
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm just following your book.
Actually, right here.
Yeah.
That was my thing.
There's more to it.
Yeah, there's definitely more to it. I think that Christianity isn't wrong or bad, but people are.
Right.
The people. the people translating it over time, and the people still to this day translating it, because that's what a preacher does. He just translates his way that he sees it. He reads it and interprets that passage the way he saw it, and then spills it out to you at church.
Right.
And not every one of them preachers has it all figured out, for sure.
I remember that
really
well.
good guys, but
I remember the shock as a kid of going through the exact same thing, except I was 13, and I just remember that feeling of hearing how you were treated and how Dad was treated. And
it bothered you.
yeah, of course, it bothered me, and I had the same kind of thoughts of like, well, they don't know everything I thought they did. And there's
Really? You
yeah,
had those same thoughts?
of course I did. And I had I had the same thoughts with reading the Bible itself. Like, even as a 13-year-old kid, I'm like, wait a minute. But I thought everything I was supposed to know about the universe is exactly within the pages of this book.
Yeah.
Why are we like hitting the limit here, and there's more, and there's things happening that aren't necessarily described in this, and they have no clue what I'm talking about. So clearly all the answers can only be in these 66
That's
books.
right. Exactly.
At a very young
In
age, I
this one
started
man's head.
questioning there's got to be more to the truth than only the Bible. But that doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Right.
It's twisted.
Yeah. Or maybe they don't have all the pieces to the puzzle.
Exactly.
It's like trying to solve a 20,000 piece puzzle with 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little hard.
Right.
Yeah, and I really hate to talk bad about any of my family. I still choose to have a relationship with those people, even though they're judgmental towards me. Still to this day, sometimes they say hateful things, talk bad about us on Facebook and in front of everybody, and especially behind our backs to the rest of the family and all. But I still choose to have a relationship with them because I love them. I just manage my expectations and choose not to talk about UFOs around them.
Right.
Or spirits or whatever.
Or anything extra. Anything
But
else.
they are, probably a good reason, a good part of why I stayed absent for 16 years, I would say. And I would have so much anxiety. I could not sit here and look you in the face and talk to you about UFOs. It's hard to even put into words. It would literally feel like my brain is going to explode, or my chest. And all I could do is cuss, and run.
Or get angry.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would
I
get
know.
angry. I would
I lived
cuss
it.
and yell and fuss and run and disappear for 3 months at a time with no text. No, hey, here I am. Just want to let y'all know, because I didn't care. I was gone.
Right.
There was times, and nobody knows this, but I chose to live. This is going to sound crazy, but I would rather live homeless at the beach than live in a household where I had to hear all that and be battered and talked down to. And even my own mother didn't believe me. She didn't believe me until like 2 years later.
Yeah.
Or longer. I don't know. I had surgery on my dang testicles, right? When I was 19. They said I'd never have kids, right?
Yeah. I remember.
It was because I was on a bunch of medication. The doctors had doped me up to do the surgery on me. On the car ride home, I was freaking out because of the taillights of this transfer truck. They were big red taillights, and I was like, "Oh," I don't remember it, but she told me the story. I was like in my seat, freaking out, like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! There they are!"
It's the eyes.
I said the eyes. It's the eyes. Yeah. And she said she realized at that moment maybe he actually did see something. Maybe he's not lying about this for some reason.
Back then, she told me that same thing, like when that happened.
Really?
Yeah. So I would have been
She's
like,
told me since then. But yeah, for the longest time, she didn't believe me. And for those 2 years or so where nobody in my household, I felt like nobody in my household believed me except for my father, and he wouldn't stop talking about it. And I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to be looked at as a liar, and I didn't want to talk about it. But I still cared that they didn't believe me. I still cared that, even though I didn't want to talk about it, I guess it's because everybody was like, you're a fucking liar or this or that I ran. I don't know.
dude, you were a child.
Yeah.
You
But
were.
I legit lived homeless for weeks or a month one time on purpose. I had a house, I had a bed, I had a place to live, but I would rather had lived out on the beach with nothing to wear, the same shirt for like 2 or 3 weeks, than live at home where I had to deal with that. Damn. And I did that a lot. That was just one specific time. I lived at this in Jacksonville at the beach. I lived there for a while, homeless.
California.
Oh yeah, I went to California. I went to Kalamazoo. I went all over, dude. I went everywhere, and I went through some hard times that the majority of people, they don't know about. But it was all my doing. I wanted to be that way. I didn't want to be home. I didn't want to be around family. I didn't want to. I wanted to be done with everything. Hated everything.
Yeah, that's.
At one time, we had a good reputation, a great one. When I was younger, I was an adult when all this happened. Pretty much, I was 17. I grew up, working the cruise, Dad's cruise, and working under this freaking empire. We were building 100 houses a year. I was an adult, pretty much, right? So I had this amazing reputation. I had 14 four-wheelers and dirt bikes, and a $200,000 RV, and model airplanes, 20 of them, and everything. I had it all. And then to go from that to a wonderful reputation, everything I wanted, to having nothing, all in a year or two, and seeing freaking UFOs, and everybody, going from being like the fucking Bledsoe, because at one time that meant something in Fayetteville, North Carolina. When I was coming up, if you were a Bledsoe, like that was something, dude. You run the freaking. We built all the houses. Like, we were big time. We kind of were, And then to go from all that to like the lowest being on earth, that everybody that I looked up to or looked up to me, looked down on, that shit was crushing.
It's traumatizing.
Yeah.
It doesn't even describe it.
Yep.
The word traumatizing doesn't even.
I went from
come
having
close.
all that to choosing to live homeless because I didn't want to be around it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you even knew any of that.
Well,
about the homeless thing.
I did.
You did?
These are all things. Of course I did. I lived in the same house that you weren't in for months at a time.
I didn't exactly tell everybody what I was doing, though, either.
Yeah, but I always knew later when they would have to go and get you because you were ready to come home. I was aware of things minimally. Yeah. These are all things that I've implicitly known that you've not necessarily said out loud for the first time. So thank you. But, let's shift gears for a moment because, and we can go on and on and on about that all you'd like, but I have a question. Why do you think that it would go down this way? Do you think that and I'm seriously asking, I want to know what you believe.
Well, I think what I actually believe is I think it had to happen that way. I think that trauma, as effed up as it is, and all that I went through was necessary. I think I had to go through all that to be the happy-go-lucky, happy person that I am today. I feel like when you've gone through so fucking much that you're at your breaking point, like you just can't go through any more. You've been through it all. You went through the freaking ringer. I think that's what makes a happy person. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how it was for me. Like I can enjoy just normal everyday life and do almost nothing, and I'm happy with that. Because I went from living the way that I did to now my life's great. I got a home, I got kids, I have a job, I can come and go as I please. I don't have to listen to anything if I don't want to. I don't know. But I'm happy all the time, and that's what I was getting at. I think that when you went through enough struggles and you come out on the other side, I think that makes a happy person. Is that crazy to think?
Not at all. I think that's very wise.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Huh.
I think that's
I've always kind of wondered that because I am normally a happy-go-lucky person all the time.
Pretty much.
Almost all the time.
Yeah, almost all the time.
I'm almost always a happy-go-lucky person. And most people around me aren't like that. They're negative all the time.
It's true.
And I get in negative spurts as well. I was like that today at some point.
We all do.
Yeah. But it's kind of rare for me.
I think it's completely okay to sometimes feel beaten down by the world and feel like you just don't have any positivity to muster. That's totally fine. That's natural. Yeah. That's part of being human.
Yeah.
We have hard days, Not every acorn that falls from the oak tree grows into a tree. Sometimes nature just grinds it down, and it doesn't always go the way that that acorn wanted to grow. Sorry, sometimes nature's a little cruel. And that's just the sad truth about reality, right?
Yeah.
But, metaphors aside, I would say I completely agree with you. I think there's something really profound about what you said. And Dad is always saying, for every interview that people have seen online of our father, at this point it's hundreds and hundreds of hours across, hundreds of programs. Multiply that by 100, and that's the amount of conversation that our dad is telling us this stuff over and over and over and over and over and over again,
our lives,
again and again.
Yeah.
And way more
beating it into our heads,
teaching us about this thing. Make it, he pretty much told me that today on the phone. I called him right before Alex came, and he was just telling me, he's like, I've been teaching you this your whole life for a reason, so that you can understand how the orbs work and everything. And he's really brilliant in many ways.
Yeah, he has. He's never stopped.
Yeah, he's really brilliant in that regard.
He is very brilliant.
Yeah, he's very good at
super happy that he did it, that he did what he did. Even though it was tough, and even though, his son hated him for a time, that would have been enough to make me quit right then. If Teddy was mad at me and hated me because I was talking, I would have never talked about a UFO again. But he has a certain level of courage that I don't have. That's why he was
no one
picked.
has.
That's why he was picked, I think. I don't know.
He has a level of...
wrong,
no, I don't think you're wrong. I think if we're going to be honest about our father, I think he has a level of courage and resilience that very few men have.
Yeah. He's one of the real ones.
Yeah. He's a G.
Yeah,
but
G, straight up G.
He is, and people just...
George Washington.
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln type motherfucker.
Yeah, seriously. He's kind of like
really
that sometimes.
Is,
He's a really smart guy. But
he's,
back to what we were just talking about, because I think you've said a lot of really wise stuff. And also, I had, just full disclosure, I had no clue this conversation was going to go this way, but I'm really happy that it did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I asked the question hey, so how was it doing conferences? And
it just came to me, bro.
No, that's great. That's great. That's fine. I'm thrilled. I just wanted the viewer to understand we didn't talk about any of this stuff beforehand. This is all from the heart. It's all from the heart, and I appreciate
I actually didn't even know I was going to be doing this today. I was supposed to be going home.
Yeah.
And then it just turned out I ended up working late, and I was like, hey, dude, I might stay after all. You want to film? And you were like, yeah.
It's pretty much exactly
how... That's best case scenario.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what happened. But back to the question, right? So I asked you, why do you think it happened this way? But let me reiterate. Why do you think that for the first time that the beings appeared to you, it was scary? Why do you think?
I think it had to be that way.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have gotten my attention, and it wouldn't have made an everlasting mark that I remember 16 years later the way that I do if it wasn't traumatizing. It wouldn't have shifted my life the way that it did and changed me as a human being if it were something I'd forget about in a minute or two. If it were just a normal everyday occurrence.
We get a lot of comments.
Been forgotten. Or it wouldn't have been such a big deal. But because it was such a jolt, that's why I will never forget it. It changes you at your core. And that had to happen because who I wasn't a great person. I was not a great person. The person I am now is so different from who I was then. Dude, I was a killer. Okay? That's a fact. It sounds crazy to say it on camera, but I was a killing machine when I was younger. That's true. I don't know anybody that's killed as many animals as I have. Is that okay to say on here? Nobody knows it, but I was a deer hunter.
Yeah, you were a hunter.
I grew up with a family that deer hunted and raccoon hunted and squirrel hunted and duck hunted and freaking bear hunted. Yeah. And I did that stuff religiously. My whole first 16 years. You tell them. When all the other kids were playing video games, what was I doing?
Yeah, you were probably out doing stuff like that. That's
in the backyard with a freaking BB gun.
That was the That was just the family culture. It was like hunting and fishing.
Yeah. When I was little, instead of just playing games all the time, I would be hunting in the backyard just for fun. You know, I would be practicing. I'd be shooting my pellet rifle. For every birthday for the first 14 years of my life, Papa Ted bought me a BB gun every year. I don't know if you remember that.
Mm-mm.
But by the next birthday, that last gun that he got me would be so worn out, it would not even shoot. Wouldn't hold air. I did that to miniguns. I would shoot them until they couldn't be shot anymore. And he'd have me a new one on my birthday. And I would shoot and shoot and shoot. I'd kill squirrels and birds and shoot targets in the backyard just for the hell of it. And that's wrong. Killing for sport is wrong.
I always felt that way as a kid.
And I didn't feel that way. I didn't have any remorse, but I do now.
I
don't know if it has something to do with the UFOs. I'm not claiming that. You know, there's a lot of people who believe it does have something to do with it, and maybe it does. I don't know. But I love to hunt. I love to shoot animals, deer and bear. I loved it. I loved getting in that stand. I loved shooting my 30-06 at a big old deer. I loved watching it hit the deer. I loved watching the deer run off. And I loved getting down there and tracking the deer all night long if I had to. And I loved hanging him up and skinning him. I loved cutting him up. I loved cooking him. I loved eating him. And then I loved, setting the corn out and doing it again or whatever. I just loved the whole thing, every bit about it. And I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think it's right to hunt like that. I don't think it's right to shoot little innocent animals that way. They're innocent little creatures. They're meant to be used for our sustenance, but not for sport. You shouldn't be out there just killing the little thing because you want to kill something. That's wrong. But if you need to eat, I don't think there's anything wrong with hunting to survive.
Right.
If you're praying for your food and you're honoring it and you're doing it that way, that's totally cool. Same with fishing. But just to get out there and kill stuff just to do it, man, that's crazy. And that's the kind of person I was. And that's just one thing. There's several other things. Me and Dad both changed drastically. The people we were then and the people we are now is
after the event.
Yeah,
after the original
It's
event.
crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. It really is because, I hunted in 2022, I think. I didn't kill anything, but I wanted to get back out there. Like, there's still part of me that wants to fill a freezer up. There's still part of me that wants to do it like I did with my grandpa. Get in the stand and, sometimes I want to kill a deer. I haven't killed a deer in, a long time. I didn't kill one that year. I don't have a lot of free time, and it just, it was a fling. And I don't know. I don't feel like that's who I am anymore. I'm not, eager to get back out there. If I ever were to hunt again, it would be specifically just to eat food that's not tampered with and without chemicals, because the stuff we eat now is pretty bad.
Yeah.
The chemicals they put in the food and all is just terrible. It's crazy. The food that the cows eat, even the stuff they eat's bad.
Right.
So it makes them bad. So
you obviously, I think that's great because you and I have never actually verbatim discussed this, but it is in Dad's book. And people, it's not really elaborated on that much. It kind of is, but like our dad was obviously a big bear hunter. All the stuff that Chris was saying, we were a family of hunters, still are. Not just us, but everyone else around us. I mean, we're from Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Yeah,
like you guys out there,
South, man.
Yeah, all around the world, like watching us on the internet. You have you hear me. I don't really have a country accent. Go look up YouTube videos of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Yeah. Can you imagine having the magnitude of experience that Chris Jr. had as a young child, on the verge of adulthood, and being like, as he explained, which I never really talk about, but it is true, the name Bledsoe used to mean something.
It did,
in our community. And it went from meaning something to, being mocked and reviled.
That's what I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to brag about my name.
I know what you're trying to say.
That's how it was looked at. When I was 16 or 17,
we were respected.
We were. Big time.
And then we were
Dad was building 100 houses a year and had over 100 employees. Dad did. Well over 100 employees. Papa Ted had 20 framing crews.
Wow.
And like 200 men or something like that working for him. Our Papa Ted. That's how he was doing it, bro. Papa Dickens, our grandfather, my mama's daddy, he was, I could be wrong, 300 houses a year.
That's a lot.
So, yeah, our name meant something, dude. We lived in a $1 million home, $750,000 home with a $100,000 pool in the backyard, a $200,000 RV. We were doing it big. Like, our family was well known. It was very respected. Nobody would dare say something bad about Dad back then. Dude, he built all the military guys' houses, all the police officers' houses. Most of the military guys, they'd buy houses from Bledsoe Construction back then.
Yeah, he built most of the houses at Wilmington back
that.
in the day. I mean, just everywhere, 1,000 homes in between.
Yeah.
You know, it's
the
just
state troopers.
It really was.
Yeah,
like
the drug enforcement agents and all, dude.
Special forces stuff.
Yeah.
He built a lot of their facilities.
Yeah, Dad was tight with all those guys because he would
at
build
one
their
point,
houses.
and I know that. Look, I want to clarify that to me, this stuff is. I'm glad that all that
Me too.
is.
I'm so happy that our life is
because we would have
the way it is
not
now.
been on the path that the people that we are today, coming from.
We're
that
better.
We're better. We're way better off.
Way better, dude.
We're way better off with nothing.
Yep.
Than
It's like the whole
that
eye of the
life.
needle thing, man. The rich man. How does that saying go?
It's that it's easier. Let me think about it. It's easier to go through
for a camel to pass through the
eye of the needle
than a rich man to get into heaven.
Than a rich
right.
man to
I was
get
trying
into
to
heaven.
connect the eye of the needle and the
Yeah.
camel, but that's right. Thank you.
But you know,
That stuff means nothing to me.
it taught us what we've had to go through, and this goes back to the question of why do I think it happened to me. You know, it taught us valuable lessons that we wouldn't have learned if we were these spoiled rich kids.
Yeah, and everyone else around us is complaining about bull crap, and we're like, "Hello, I'm just trying to have a nice Merry Christmas in your presence.
Yeah.
I'm just trying
That's
to.
it.
I'm just happy to see you.
Yeah, that's
like why
it.
are we complaining about bull crap? You know,
Right,
because
right.
of what we've been through. And that's I say Christmas. I mean in all scenarios. Yeah, I agree with you completely. That when you go through these extreme losses, we've been reviled by the community. That's a little unique. Most people don't experience
nobody
that.
knows what
Most
that's like,
people do not know what it is like to be criticized, throughout the span of your life by thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
That's
Over
that's
and over and
that's
over
pretty
and
hard to
over
get
and
over sometimes.
It is.
But my
Doesn't
point
do
is
really drastic
when
things.
you lose everything and you're at that breaking point, it could be a loved one dying, it could be anything, but some extremely traumatic event that pushes you over the edge. I think that it does show you the truth of life, which is most things don't matter. The only things that do matter are being happy,
Family,
family,
your kids,
love, smiles,
living, being healthy,
being joyful.
yeah.
Yeah, none of that extra shit matters. I don't care.
The paintball gun, it really doesn't matter.
I mean, it's okay. It's a harmless hobby.
Yeah, it's good for you, but at the end of the day, all I'm saying is, you don't have to have these things to be happy. You don't have to have these things to exist. Like the guns, the toys, the airplanes, or whatever. It's not necessary. We're so used to doing without. I don't have to have anything to be happy, but it definitely helps. It definitely helps to
for
make
sure.
me happy.
Of course.
Huh.
So I had asked, basically, I just wanted to get your take because these are things that I've had my own opinions about, but I've never exactly asked you out loud. Like, why do you think they were scary at first? Or why do you think this? Or why do you think that? And ironically, even though this is an exact conversation we've never explicitly had, our thoughts were identical, which is
That's crazy.
I had the things you were telling me were exactly what I've always thought were the reasons that things happened the way they did.
Really?
Yeah. But
That's cool.
The reason I even wanted to ask in the first place is because there's people online like, it's just like people in the family or people in the community, or online even, no-name anonymous trolls. They'll say things like, oh, you're saying that beings are angelic. Well, they traumatized your brother. Well, listen to why he said they did it. Why he feels in his heart that they did it. Why I've always felt in my heart that they did it. Why Dad always felt in his heart that they did it.
It was
Because
necessary.
if it was necessary, unfortunately for you.
How come in the Bible, anytime they'd see an angel, well, not every time, but there were times that they'd see an angel and it was scary?
Right.
How come in the Bible the angels were scary?
Be not afraid.
How come they had fiery eyes? How come they rode in chariots of fire? Fiery ball.
Right.
A fiery horse and carriage. That's how they knew to explain it. They called it a chariot, which is a horse and buggy, pretty much, of fire. That's what the angels rode in, a chariot of fire. These demonic crafts that I'm seeing look like chariots of fire. They look like a little fireball of light flying around. So I could imagine back when they didn't speak the same way we do now, they would have called that thing a chariot of fire.
Yeah, or a wheel within a wheel. Something like that.
Yeah.
Or a pillar of cloud by day.
Yep. So we know all those things. But yet the church is telling us another thing. Who do we believe?
Right.
Do I believe my own eyes and my heart and my mind? Or do I believe what the church is telling me? And then I remember that you should only believe, how's that saying go? Half that you see and nothing that you hear. Isn't that how it goes? Something like that.
I don't know that phrase.
Yeah, you should believe nothing that you hear and half that you see. That's the quote.
I don't know it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, pretty much it means you don't believe everything everybody tells you, and
I
you
see.
don't believe in everything you see either.
Right.
Just because you see something don't mean it's always exactly as it seems.
Yeah, it could be you could have a different angle. I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying now. I
So,
didn't get it at first.
The
'cause
church, the preacher man.
Believe none of what you hear and half of what you see.
Pretty much
Yeah, so-
almost exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe nothing that you hear and half of what you see. Well, I'm hearing the preacher man say that this is demonic, but I'm seeing this. I should believe half of what I see, and nothing that I hear from him is the way I'm taking it. So maybe there's a little truth to what I'm seeing, but that man don't know shit.
Right.
You know?
That's a good point.
I think about these things
It's
over
got
the
a little
years.
formula worked out there.
Dude, I've had 20 years to think about this stuff.
Yeah.
I have a lot going on up here that
I think
nobody knows.
I think it'll be 19 years in just a few months.
Peace, love, and judge thy neighbor.
Yeah. Something Dad likes to say.
Yeah, about church.
No,
That's what it's
and
all
you know,
about, bro.
it's the crazy thing because like Dad named his book UFO of God. Why do people? Anybody ever thought about why did he do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why did he say that name?
I don't know. Why don't you tell us?
I don't know. I probably because he's very boldly telling you, "Hey, this has to do with God.
Yeah, of course.
This has
I
to
knew
do
why.
with
I wanted
God,
the viewer
right?"
to hear.
Yeah, and obviously the viewer knows, but then there's people out there who, honestly, probably the biggest criticism that people have is they're like, "This is evil. This is demonic."
Yeah.
You know,
we get that.
really, because we're praying out there, and you know, there's things appearing. And guess what? If you did, it would too.
Yeah.
Everybody
exactly.
does it. We've
Yeah.
done it in a crowd with 1,000 people. Or you
We've
called up
had
your buddy in Arizona.
Dedicated Christians. Lots of them. Lots of them. Maybe not the ones that go to the Pentecostal Holiness Church, but we get lots of dedicated Christians that are no different than any other Christian that pray right there with us and see them. It's happened. Catholics too.
Yeah, well, way more than that. You know,
Yeah.
people that are Hindu, people that are Muslim, people that are
Yes,
Buddhist.
that's
It doesn't.
right.
It's not
That's
just.
right.
It's not just Christian. You know,
Yeah.
and like my view has
Yeah.
changed, and I think that people get. I don't think Jesus was like, you know, hey, it's. Let me figure out how to say this because I think this is important to get right. I don't think. Like the church, for example, okay, let me say it this way. When we were growing up, we were taught, you know, you can't look at anything outside of the Bible. You can't look into Egypt. You can't look into, you know, Buddhism or things like that. That's like very like, no. It's only in this box. I don't think that's the way God is. I think that there is no box. I think that God doesn't just belong to one system, and all of these different systems are explaining the one thing. And if you're a really smart individual, you'll look at all of these different pieces of the puzzle and you'll find the commonalities, right? You'll find the patterns of how things are similar. And you'll look at all the pieces on the board, not just the little box.
Yeah, you'll start finding more pieces of that 20,000 piece puzzle. Now
Right.
you got 2,000.
Maybe there is some truth in Hinduism. Maybe there is some truth in
From all of them. Yeah.
from all of them. Yeah, and maybe that's kind of the point of God in the first place. Is this just we're a bunch of, you know, ignorant little human beings for the last 5,000 years trying to explain what we think it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong on those pages. It is its own thing. It's immortal. It's timeless. It's boundless. It's beyond.
It's everything.
It's everything. It's beyond our comprehension. And all of these different texts are just trying to explain the one thing. But I think there is a lot of accuracy, particularly in written works that pertain to Jesus.
Yeah.
That doesn't even necessarily, my personal opinion, a lot of the New Testament, in my view and what I've seen, could be fraudulent. That's a whole other story. There's a scholarly debate where there's like 13 letters from the Apostle Paul, and it's believed that he actually only wrote like 6 of them, and that the other 7 are people over the next, several decades or 100 years that just used his name and published the works. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, people don't really know the full context of the Bible. You know what I mean? And any text, really. Most
They're
texts.
just different interpretations of his
like,
teachings, probably.
People want to talk about, I'm a Christian, or I'm a this, or I'm a that. Great. Well, step 1, if instead of blindly believing the thing, why don't you go look into like the context of this system's existence. Start to understand how it formed, the movement that was created at the time it began, the historical impact, how it spread to other nations, how it relates to other cultures. And I'm just, as of late,
Dad does that. And he's been
we're very similar
for years.
Yeah. And I've been talking to your, on and on and on over the last week and a half. I've been blowing your head up about this, but I'm talking about this Gnostic thing.
The Nag Hammadi.
The Nag Hammadi, yeah, because I'm
Scrolls.
really beginning to believe that the Nag Hammadi library is the secret missing piece to the Bible. That it's the part of the puzzle. That's why all these years later, there's so much chaos and fear and distortion over Christianity. And then you have the idiots of the world, the idiots who hate and mock Jesus because of the actions of people that don't understand their religion. Ignorant, I was trying to say, ignoramus and moron and like 2 other words at the same time, but like just ignorant, stupid people who want to claim to be spiritual, but then they mock Christ.
Yeah.
They mock a real, genuine fountain of spiritual wisdom. But then they'll be like, Buddha's really cool. This is really cool. That's really cool. But then they like mock Christ. To me, it's like, you're a fake spiritual person. You can't.
That's weird.
You have to look at all sources of wisdom. I think, anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox about that. But, people don't quite understand like the significance. There's a reason that there's Jesus on the cover of UFO of God.
An orb.
Yeah, an orb. Well, interesting. You start looking into the Gnostic thing that was only discovered in the text, only discovered in 1947. And they talk about a lady. They actually talk about a lady. Sophia, yep. And they have a completely different story about reality. And, a slightly different account of Jesus. And I think it's just very interesting. That's all I'm saying. I have a hard time saying I'm Christian because from a scholarly perspective, that implies certain things.
Right.
That means that you believe, like you have to say the Nicene Creed, for example, if you're a certain sect, or it means you have to say this, or you have to do this, or you have to conform to this doctrine. I don't conform to doctrines. I just follow Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
That's kind of how I am as well, in a way.
Yeah.
I don't really conform to everything the church tells me. I know that it doesn't matter. All that matters is that because I like to think this. I don't know that it's true, but I think of consciousness as like this energy or like maybe like a library that's floating around in the sky above us, right? And we're all linked together through this little consciousness thing, right? Isn't that how
like a cloud,
works? Yeah,
like the cloud, like
Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
like the Wi-Fi signal. Our brain sends this signal and receives the signal, and there's all this information floating around up there, and we're all like tied together through this. We're all one through God, the body of, this is like God up here,
right?
And He links to the trees and the animals and me and you and all through this one like way of communicating, I guess you could say. I don't know how to explain it. That's how I
psychically,
think.
spiritually.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting
It's
at.
invisible.
Spiritually.
Right.
And
there's a connection.
that's
There's
how
an
faith
entanglement.
works and
Prayer.
the psychic stuff. Prayer, yeah. Angels and all, they can tap into that stuff. They hear it. They know what we're thinking because, it's up there. We think it, and our brain's sending it out on some level.
Interesting.
Some people can tap into it. They are able to open up like that little portal in their brain that receives that Wi-Fi signal, and you're able to suck it up, and now you're psychic, or you had a precognitive thought. But where I was going with this, though, is sometimes I like to think that God is in control of that, and we are all tied together through that. That's why, you shouldn't murder somebody. I don't know. It's just like my own speculation, but you shouldn't hurt somebody, harm them, talk bad to them, anything, because we're all together through this one thing. So if I'm like hurting you, I could be hurting myself at the same time, or God. So that's why I'd like to think you shouldn't harm people or be ugly to them, treat them wrong, whatever, because you're harming God or yourself. That's probably all a load of baloney, but
it's not at all. It's exactly what Jesus taught.
Yeah, and
many others.
And where I was going with that, where was I going with that? I had a very special little loop. I was going to tie it all together.
It'll come back from the cloud.
Yeah, but yeah. That's it. Kind of reminds me of Mother Nature in a way. How everything is tied together through Mother Nature, God, right? The plants and all. But that's how you make it to heaven. That's how that's part of how you make it to heaven. You recognize things like that. You don't treat people wrong. You do good. You have good in your heart, good intentions.
Yeah.
If you have good intentions, then you're probably not going to hurt anybody. It's all about intention. And I know as long as you know those things and you know to be good to other people and you know how to act, and you love God, you love the earth, you love the animals, the people, you're one step closer to making it to heaven. You don't have to exactly follow the doctrines that the Pentecostal church tells you. I don't have to
or any
keep my hair
specific
cut to a certain length and avoid wearing nose piercings and all to make it to heaven, like they would say.
Agreed. I would take it a step further. I would say that heaven is not a place that you go to when you die, but it's a constant state of mind that you should seek to achieve in life. And then if you achieve this in life, then you'll be immortal beyond death. See, people got it backwards from how we came, our community, and the majority of Christians in the world. It's like, you got to be saved. What if you were to die, like right now or any time? You got to be saved on that deathbed. You better confess Christ. You got to believe. There's this emphasis of like, you have to believe this. You have to say X, Y, Z. You have to say Romans 10:9, the sinner prayer. If you're Anglican, you got to say the Nicene Creed. You got to say this. You got to say your Hail Marys. You got to say the Lord's Prayer 7 times a day. You got to say exactly this, or you are going to burn in hell for all eternity. I don't think that's even close to the truth. I think that's so far from the truth. I think real truth is the teachings of Jesus were a secret. It was a new answer to the problem that humanity at the time was facing. They had never heard this knowledge before, other than in secret, in mystery schools in Egypt and Greece and India and Tibet and so on and so forth. That he brought this knowledge to the world for the first time, that you have to reach enlightenment. You have to seek a state of being. You have to be Christ-like. You have to be this way. It doesn't matter what you believe. It's not about being saved by some outside force. It's about how you be, not about how you believe, right? Being Christ-like.
That's right.
Heaven is a state of mind.
Yeah.
Because in Tibetan Buddhism, for example, they have a concept called the light body or Jogchen. It's believed that Jesus, I'm just saying, I've had these conversations with people who are pretty credible about certain things like this. Very smart individuals who study this way more than me or most people alive on the planet. And there is a belief that, maybe the Shroud of Turin even is what it is because Jesus achieved light body and poof, disappeared in a flash of light when he was ready to. You read the stories about the transfiguration on the mountain. I've heard stories of Tibetan monks levitating. Poof, rainbow body. They disappear in a flash of light. I think there's way more possible than we
Oh,
really
definitely.
know.
And we've seen that firsthand at the frickin' Psy Games. You know?
Yeah, not the light body, but many
No,
other
not the
things.
light
Yeah,
body, but, you know,
very cool things.
We've seen that we are more than what they teach us.
Yeah.
What your church teaches you and what the government in our school teaches you is taught to you purposefully to keep you controlled, I think. I could be wrong about that, but
And
what
maybe,
it seems, because they're purposefully leaving stuff out.
And maybe they don't even know it themselves, but
they know
it is definitely happening.
They know it, brother.
Yeah.
Our government knows about it. That's why there's the Monroe Institute. They've been studying it for a long time, right? Pretty much. And I know that they've worked with them before, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, they've done like investigations into their program and worked with developing, psi abilities for
far
remote viewers and
than
stuff.
us.
Yeah, of course.
They made the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats when we were kids. Like they were studying this stuff for long before us.
Yeah, for sure.
The government knows all about it. But we're not taught about it. For what reason? Why? Why are we not taught this stuff? Why are we not taught that you can, precognitively know when your freaking wife is going to pull up in the driveway?
Right.
It can happen. Why aren't we taught that if you train your body enough, you can bend a spoon with your mind? Well, if they taught everybody that, then it would be real easy to break out of prison, wouldn't it?
Or a number of other things.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an example. But it would make sense to control us. They wouldn't want you to know things that make you powerful.
Right.
That make you almost superhuman. They don't want you to know that stuff. You have to seek it. You have to get lucky and find it.
Right.
Like a freaking Easter egg.
You have to seek it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why we have so many mythologies about the Holy Grail, the wishing stone, the Chintamani wishing stone from Buddhism. There's these mythologies, these legends about finding this secret treasure. Those are all metaphors. It's about your soul coming here on the journey to discover this knowledge and become enlightened.
Mm-hmm.
That quest for the Holy Grail exists inside all of us.
Yeah.
It's the search for knowledge. We're all the fool on the journey, right? The archetype of the soul, right?
Sure.
We all come here as the fool.
Uh-huh.
We're all on that path to seeking this knowledge, right? That's what the Gnostics were all about. That's what the word Gnostic means, or the word gnosis. It means knowledge. It means to be illuminated. To when you read the Gnostic interpretation of salvation is not, hey, you got to pray to me, you got to say your Hail Marys, you got to do XYZ, and you won't burn in hell forever. The Gnostics were like, whoa, actually, we're kind of in hell now, figuratively speaking.
Like the Matrix.
Like the Matrix. They said the word illusion, or the word like a nightmare. I think it was the Gospel of Truth, or one of the Nag Hammadi scrolls. It says that basically this is a nightmare, that the flesh comes into a nightmare. You're actually seeking to get out of here.
Whereas, I started listening today, bro. Maybe in another week or so, I'll be able to talk this stuff with you.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard it upstairs. But see, the Christian doctrine, or many doctrines, are like, well, actually, it's the opposite. You die and then you go, what, Gospel of Truth? It's in there? Yeah, it talks about it being a nightmare, right? You want to elaborate? Read it. I'd love to hear it.
No, I don't have anything to elaborate. I'm just confirming you're correct.
Okay. Yeah, Alex starts shaking his head at me and thumbs up, which means I got something correct, so I had to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
But, the modern theology is that you come here, you've got the life, and then if you die, if you mess up a few times here, you burn in hell forever. But really, I couldn't be farther from the truth, that this is the hard place.
Yeah.
We are in the hard place.
That makes sense. Look at the world we live in.
Yeah, and it could be way worse.
For a lot of people.
That's really good news. It honestly could be worse.
It could, that is good news.
There are a lot of things here to enjoy if you have the state of mind to be a loving, joyful, peaceful person.
It's insane to think that way, man, because it's true. Because you could enjoy anything, or you could choose to be negative and spiteful and hateful and just be unhappy all the time. Some people choose to live like that. That's something Dad always said to me, is you can choose to be happy or you can choose to be upset. Yeah. And he said that to me all the time. When I would be upset about the UFO things, I'd lash out and be mad, and he would tell me, it's up to you to choose to be happy or choose to be sad. And And at first I was like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Same.
That's what I would
As
think.
a kid, I'm like,
Shut
okay.
that shit
Yeah,
up.
thanks, Dad.
Yeah. That's how I would think. Like, I don't want to hear that shit. I wouldn't talk to him like that, but I don't want to hear that shit. I'd leave. But I never forgot it. And he's right. You literally can choose to be a spiteful, hateful, negative person that makes everybody unhappy and stresses every person out around them. Because when you're spiteful and negative, even though I know you're not being negative and spiteful towards me, it still gives me some level of stress. Right? I'm sure it does for you too. When someone's just like slamming shit, even though they're not focused at you, he's slamming something and he's cussing and mad because that speck on the wall isn't right. You're feeling some level of stress. These negative, nasty people are running around freaking, they just can't enjoy life, and other people around them can't enjoy life.
Because they're around them.
Yeah, because they choose to be just negative and nasty. And I really thought about that, and I choose to be happy. And I make that choice, and I do, and I am. It's literally that simple. It's a mind state. You can be happy or sad, quite literally.
It's the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
That's why it's our symbol. The symbol is actually a rendition of the Philosopher's Stone. That's very intentional on my part.
Huh.
I said I wanted it to be a triangle with a circle in the middle, but the triangle will be a pyramid. Symbolically, it's a yellow triangle, but it's the pyramids. That's why it's yellow.
Yeah.
And the UFO, if you notice, it's a perfect circle shape.
Uh-huh.
That's intentional. It's the Philosopher's Stone. Because for all this time, I've wanted the viewer to be exposed to this symbol, the people, and spreading it into the world, and it being associated with our brand and our story, because I wanted that spiritual symbol really to be tying all of this together, which basically means that you have the power to create your own reality. You can create heaven or you can create hell.
Yep.
It's not a destination you go when you die. It is a constant state of being in life and death and forever and ever and ever.
And I know people that find a way. It don't matter what you say or what's presented to them. They find a way to be negative about that thing. You know what I mean? I know people like that. They're just they cannot find happiness in anything. It don't matter what you give them. They can't even do a hobby right because they're so negative and nasty about everything. There's nothing they enjoy. They're living in hell.
Right.
And don't even know it.
There's a lot of people alive today living in hell.
Yep.
I'm not living in hell.
Me neither.
I know this is a hard place, but there's my life's
my
not.
times. I was having it today.
Yeah.
But I can control that. I can still find happiness in other things. Yeah, it's crazy to think about and see it the way that I see it. I wish everybody could see it that way.
Me too, man.
The world
That's
would
why I'm
be a
out here
great
doing
place.
this, trying to convince people. Hey, there's more to the world than you've been told and what you've seen.
Yeah, and the whole thought about negativity though is crazy, man. There's so much more to just like that topic, negativity. I really believe that you shouldn't be negative ever.
I agree. I think it should all be external. Any negativity you experience should be external. It should not come from you. Yes, it should not come from within your being. Yes, right. It's okay to experience stress, and
that's something I'm trying to even work on. And for the most part, I'm pretty positive most of the time. But I think that if everybody tried to live a little more positive and see things more positively, like just find some way to see something that you perceive as negative, try to find a way to see it in a positive way. Whatever it is you're looking at or facing, find some way. I don't care how fucked up it is. Find a way to make it seem positive. And just start doing that, like, to yourself in the back of your mind. Think like that. Anytime something happens to you, just find a way to make it positive. Start making yourself do that. And eventually it'll just happen. You'll start seeing things differently. You'll start seeing things, and you're practicing and manifesting a more positive reality by trying, is all I'm saying. And I think that's very important. Super, super important. People that run around being negative all the time, they stress me out. I do not like negativity at all. I don't want to hear it at all. Just don't.
Yeah.
It does stress me out. I get stressed out easy.
Yeah, me too.
And especially around negativity.
I think that comes with being very energy sensitive. And that's why I'm really happy to I've learned certain techniques from the Monroe Institute, and I'm kind of like going down this path of like learning more stress management techniques, breathing techniques, things like that.
I need all that. I would love to learn that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to show you anytime, but I think that those things really do help for energy sensitives.
111.
Yeah, 1113.
Yeah.
But
it was 11.
Yeah, exactly. The clock
131.
was saying that when he was pointing that out to me. But no, I completely agree, and I think it comes from being energy sensitive, being very overstimulated from external energy.
Mm-hmm.
But the burden is on all of those of us who are truly connected to the spiritual, who truly understand the like deeper meaning of what's really going on behind the scenes in the spirit world. It's more than just black and white, what your church is teaching you. It's more than just like, I love my crystals, but F Jesus. Like, no. There's something
crazy.
really deep going on here. There are forces that are actually constantly interacting with you in an invisible world that you can't see.
That's right.
And
there's good, there's bad.
There's good, there's bad. There's electromagnetic forces that are constantly affecting your consciousness, your nervous system, your brain. You're being overloaded with invisible energies.
Mm-hmm. Like that eclipse.
Yeah, and it's important to be aware of protecting yourself from like external negative energies. But anyway,
we should all practice being positive.
I agree.
That's like the best advice to give anybody.
That's what Dad has told me more than anything.
I know.
Be positive. Be happy.
Be positive.
Like, I don't want to hear that right now.
Yeah, me neither. I never did, but now I find myself saying it all the time and living that way.
And telling everybody else.
And telling Teddy, be positive, be happy. Don't ever say something negative.
Especially about yourself.
Especially
or
about
another
yourself.
person.
I say that to him all the time too. You don't ever talk bad about yourself. Ever. Yeah, I think it even says that in the Bible in some place.
Metaphorically.
Yeah, it does.
It says if you curse a tree, it'll die.
Yeah, but it says more than that too.
Or if you tell a mountain to move, it'll move.
Yeah. There was another thing, I'm probably wrong about it, but something about if you curse your left hand, cut it off or something? Or?
No, it says if your left hand offends you, cut it off.
Oh, okay.
In other words, if there's any sort of vices or things that are causing you trouble or things that you're doing that are wrong and you can't control it, remove it. Get it out of your life.
Yeah. I always kind of interpreted that as, pretty much what you said, but like, if you're finding something negative or there's bad stuff or negative things, remove it, get rid of it.
Yeah, cut it out.
Get it.
Yeah.
Get it out of there.
Agreed. Walking down this path is not easy, and it requires patience. It requires humility. It requires just constantly being, reminding oneself, be positive, be positive, be positive, reminding others, be positive, be positive.
I want to know more about why do you think it is that, like I was saying earlier, and I feel bad that I said it, that I liked killing as a kid. I did like to hunt and shoot and kill, and I liked hunting. But I was feeling bad about that. But why do you think it is that we changed so drastically after seeing this spiritual thing or this UFO or whatever? Why would I go from loving to hunt like that and like really loving it to now like I don't? And there's other things too. Like I went from being not so good in some areas to now I'm not like that. Why? Why? It happened to Dad. It happened to me. Why? Why do you think that's happening?
My honest view is because I believe that it is a spiritual initiation. That when you experience things that are extremely traumatic, especially things that are concerning like, the spirit world, seeing interdimensional beings, things like that, it has an effect on your soul that begins this awakening process where you become more intimately connected to the spiritual. You become more empathic.
That kind of makes sense.
Your psychic abilities increase. Your awareness of the other reality, even though you're not, seeing it all the time with your eyes, which we kind of do. We're seeing, orbs of light all the time, but you know what I mean? Like you're constantly being more aware of this invisible reality, and you start to become more acclimated to the truth and being more in resonant with the truth, which is like being humble, being kind, being Christ-like, being loving, feeling sorry for other people when they're suffering, not wanting to cause harm to other beings. It's just a natural process that unfolds, because once you go through that initiation process, it's like it's this journey that just it's like the turning lead into gold in alchemy.
Yeah.
The metaphor is that basically your soul is this crude lead before this process, and then you start this process to where your soul is now being forged by fire. Well, that fire is the spirit, and it is going to be refined and burned and broken down and turned into this beautiful bar of gold. So what does that look like? All the external events that have caused suffering and trauma in your life.
That crude minerals like just burning off.
Yes. It's these karmic lessons.
Like the phoenix rising
exactly.
from ashes.
Exactly. That's the same exact metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's the process of dying and being reborn.
I
could say it in 1,000 ways. You're being born again, like you're being
Yeah.
baptized in fire. There's all these different mythologies.
I was baptized in water
yeah.
last Sunday.
I was in the pond in dad's and mom's backyard when I was 15.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, so that's why I think you've changed so dramatically, and it's
I'd always
because
wondered that. Why
it's a very real spiritual process that is occurring on the level of your soul.
Huh.
And everybody who experiences this.
Yeah, at first I kind of wondered if it had only happened to Dad, but then at the same time I'm like, no, it definitely happened to me too. It had to have.
Yeah.
Because I had to hunt. I wanted to. Like, that was what made me happy, hunting, and I just don't have that anymore like that I used to. It just doesn't exist. So it has to have happened to me as well. And there's other things too, like the hunting, that have changed, I would say. It's crazy. I'd always wondered.
Yeah.
It's cool to see what you think, and that totally makes sense. It's like in a spiritual awakening. What was important to you before just doesn't matter the same anymore.
Not at all.
You see the world just so differently.
You start to see a lot of that old stuff didn't matter, and if anything, it was making your life harder, making it worse.
Yep. Money doesn't matter. Stuff just doesn't matter to me.
To me, going broke as a kid wasn't the worst trauma.
Oh, I'm sure.
I still have
13.
Yeah, I mean, that was... No, I mean, it was horrible and had to move around town and all that, and nobody should experience that. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the UFOs and the angelic beings appearing, and then seeing how you guys were treated, and then kind of seeing how I began to be treated when I would talk about it by the time I was 14 or 15, and then just seeing this impact that it had, and then how the government swooped in and got involved and started to, try to control, and all this stuff started unfolding. To me, that was the trauma. It was all these negative external forces that were like
I could see
shaming us and mocking us and humiliating us and torturing us.
If it was hard for me, and being an adult, I could get up and leave. I can imagine what it was like for y'all being little kids that had to stay at home no matter what.
Don't ever talk about that. Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm a child. What am I going to do? Try to tell you you're wrong? Sorry, won't happen again. And then I'm like sitting there, thinking about it. Oh my God, they just shut me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And then now here you are. I wonder what that person thinks now.
Oh, dude, I've heard all kinds of things.
Like what? Tell me.
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's I don't want to just talk about people on the show. Yeah, I mean, it is.
You don't have to say any names, but it might help the viewer, give them a little context. Like they want to hear this stuff, I think. Right?
There are people in our family who think it's like absolutely crazy that I do this, and that I'm just out here talking about evil stuff all the time.
Yeah, and you're going to hell.
But I mean, that's
Your
probably
soul
the
is
conclusion.
gone.
Yeah. And I think I'm
It
just
is.
like talking about demonic things.
Yep.
Couldn't be further from the truth.
I know.
I think I did one episode
Nothing but
about
spreading
hell.
love and light and
Right. How
Stuff up,
helping
bro.
people, connect to God. That's kind of the main thing.
yeah.
Helping people figure out how to go outside and have this real connection with the spirit world and like see these angelic beings. I mean, there's been a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
But there are people that think it's absolutely crazy that I'm doing this.
But I mean, do you see what I'm trying to say though?
I
at
do.
all? Like,
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for them.
Yeah.
We have this special knowledge that I was lucky enough to see and know that most people don't get to actually know their whole life. I don't have to hunt and search and look for UFOs or spiritual beings or what. I don't have to hunt and wonder.
Right.
Most people will wonder their whole life and search, and they may die never actually knowing. I don't have to think that way. I just always know, and it's crazy. Some of our people, they live by the code and they believe it, and they're not right.
That's crazy to me too, man. Like, I don't think people quite get that. I've had so many videos sent to me over the last, I don't know how many years, many years, and people be like, have you seen this congressional hearing? Have you seen this UFO thing? Have you seen this UFO thing? And I'm like, what do you guys think? I'm just sitting around looking at UFOs all the time? Like, no, I'm walking outside and I'm seeing them.
Yeah,
I don't care to watch this crap.
That's
I don't need
how I was
to.
too.
Yeah, I get
It's
it.
like when I went to the Contact in the Desert, dude, and I'm meeting, and a lot of them were really nice people. And I'm not going to say any names, but there were some like really big UFO celebrities there. I'm meeting these people and shaking hands with them, and I've never seen their faces before. I don't know anything about them. I don't know what they do, and they're like the top names. Some of the guys there are like, bro, you know who that is? That's so-and-so. Holy shit, she's like the one. She's done all this and that. And that.
Right.
I've never even heard of this lady before. I meet her. She's like 90 years old. She's so sweet, and she's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you, and everybody's like hyping her up. I don't know these people. I don't research UFOs.
Yeah.
I never needed to. I saw them. I
Right.
saw it. I know. I'm not going to waste my time reading about this freaking reptile. I didn't see a reptile. I'm not going to waste my time reading on this damn grays or watching videos. And I'd rather watch about a paintball gun. I don't know enough about that.
Yeah, and see, I'm like
I know
looking in the
enough
ancient
about that.
texts. I'm
Yeah.
looking in other areas. I
Yeah,
don't need to go
that's
look at
smart.
all that stuff, and I'm trying to find
And I'm
different,
not a reader.
different, hidden things.
I'm mechanically minded. We were talking about this today. I'm like, very hands-on with the things I do. Ryan's the bookworm. He's he's more book smart, and he can. I always thought it was so cool when I was younger. You could read a book, and you could remember it word for word, the whole freaking book. You were like that when you were a kid. You could spout almost word for word the whole day. You could read a paragraph and tell me word for word what the paragraph said. I can't do that. It took me to like 5th grade to learn how to do that, or to learn how to read a paragraph and remember it. I have a different type of learning, different skill set.
Kinesthetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm ashamed to say I haven't read a book probably in years.
For real?
There was
Wow.
There was a time where I was like reading books
all the time.
in a day.
Every
when I was
day.
a kid, I was always reading and reading and reading and reading. But now all my reading is for information.
Sure.
I'm not really reading books as much anymore as I used
get
to.
that.
I'm reading.
That's better, really.
Yeah, I'm taking that skill set and applying it to different things. But
Better, because
Wow.
you're reaching people with it.
yeah, thank you for saying that, man. And I don't think you should be hard on yourself either. Like everybody is, some people play tuba, some people play
I'm
clarinet.
one of your biggest
Like
supporters. What do you mean? Thank you for saying that. That almost hurts my feelings. You should know that I respect everything you do and love what you do. Yeah. You should never have to say thank you to that. I'm your biggest supporter.
well, what am I supposed to do when you
what I'm wearing,
compliment me?
bro.
Be like, yeah, you should have said
That's
that.
right.
No, I'm gonna say thank
Own
you.
that shit, bro. Because you're the man. You're the bomb, dude. Own it.
Well, I'm not
No,
gonna
I'm
say
kidding,
thank you.
dude. I'm glad that it makes you feel good.
Trying to be
but
humble, man.
I know.
Well, would you look at that? I had no clue. We're out of time here, so we're gonna close out now. But
I hope that I wasn't too weird and spouting off, shit
Dude,
that
it was
makes sense.
awesome.
Was it?
Oh, it was incredible. Great
I'm
job.
glad to hear that, bud, because I'm starting to regret it.
no, there was a lot of wisdom. You say
Alright.
that every time.
Yeah, I do.
And also for the first,
Well, I'm regretting because I spoke a lot about religion, and I spoke about family, and when I do speak on religion, it bothers me for weeks after I think about it, and I wonder if I said the right thing, and I don't want to mess anybody's religion up or the way they believe and put them through the shock that I went through. I don't want to be the cause of that for anybody. So I think about that afterwards, and
I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
But know that anything that you're saying in that moment is not something that has not been said on this show already.
And I don't want to be seen as a heretic.
Oh well, you already are.
It was funny because we were talking about that
This
today.
morning. Yeah. But just understand. I understand that you feel
Not
that way.
I'm a heretic. I'm
and
not a freaking heretic.
I have felt that way
They're the
for many
heretics.
years doing this show. I have felt that I hit a certain point where I began to feel guilty, like I don't want to destroy anyone's belief system, and I still don't. But I think as long as it's said with the right intention and with love,
There you go.
there's nothing wrong with just saying the truth.
What I feel, at the very least, everything I've said is how I've thought or felt over the years. It's not the gospel.
It's the truth.
Yeah, it's the truth.
This stuff all really happened.
It's the way I've felt and thought and the things I've experienced.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify, nobody has to believe me. Nobody has to, take my word for the gospel.
Right.
This is just my thoughts.
Yeah. Well, let's end it there, man. I think that's a good natural point. And
Terrific.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.